Hello, thank you for tuning in to the Diaspora Panel. We are the Diaspora Panel, the voice of the diaspora. I have with me, as always, I have Mr. Olaito Adediba, who is based in America, United States of America. Mr. Adediba, you are welcome to today's meeting.
Glad to be here this afternoon.
I also have Mr. Olalawal, based in Calgary, in Canada. Mr. Lawal, you are also welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Today, we want to discuss the state of emergency declared by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu 2 days ago. There's been a lot of talk, we've seen a lot of talk about whether this is right, whether this is not right. And we are here to analyze what led to this action and whether it's the right action to take or whether something else could have been done. Now, let's look at the genesis. Governor Fubara was elected as governor in 2023. He was backed by his godfather, Wike, his political godfather, Wike. Wike installed him as governor and installed his own associates into the House of Assembly. Wike appointed, commissioners for Fubara. And, he basically, he was in charge. And so when Fubara took up, when he became governor, he found out that he was surrounded by all the associates of his godfather. And he found out that he couldn't do anything without approval from Wike in Abuja. And this caused a lot of problems. So because of this, Wike wanted to break free. And this caused disaffection Fubara wanted to break free, and this caused disaffection between him and Wike. And what happened then was that the State of Assembly now made efforts to impeach him, to get him out. And then Fubara went to demolish, he made sure that the House of Assembly was not functional. Thereafter, the members of the House of Assembly, they decamped from BDP to APC. And then they all ended in court. And then the Supreme Court now ruled that Fubara is in error, that Fubara has become a despot. He was ruling without the House of, So, and then recently, everything went, haywire in the sense that the legislature now resumed, they wanted to impeach Fubara, and Fubara was trying to make amends, but they would not let him. And then there were some explosions, which the federal government said was caused by Fubara, who has been advising just young boys to go and destabilize the state. And then the president, evoked the state of emergency rule and removed, suspended Fubara and the House of Rep, and then appointed an administrator to go and be there for about 6 months. So, Olaitan,
Yep.
do you think that the president did the right thing? Do you think a state of emergency is ideal? Removing or suspending a governor of a state in a federal structure. Do you think this is the right thing to do? And do you think that this is not going to be a very bad precedent? I mean, like if a president can remove a governor of a state, in a federal structure. What do you think?
Yeah, thank you for that question. We've seen series of removal, declaring state of emergency during during Ayo Fayose, right? It's not new. But what I'm saying in essence is, given the circumstances we find ourselves, we should not make the mistake that Section 305 we were quoting, if all power to the president, right, to suspend, not remove. And he removing, in suspending, he virtually remove all the democratic setup over there. So he can do and undo. That is a terrible situation we find ourselves. And don't forget, that time it has gotten to a stage where the governor, incumbent governor, the then governor, Fubara, he was saying that the boys, his boys, the job boys, are waiting for him to give order. Once they remove him, he will give order that they should blast all the pipelines.
He didn't say that. He didn't say that. He didn't
no,
say
that will be the case.
People are just assuming that is what he meant, but he never.
Yeah, that is. He never said that, but that is what will happen, right? Considering the fact that now we are earning more money, the crude we are generating every day now is moving up from 1.5 million barrels every day to 2 point something million, 2.2 or 2.3. So the governor, they are now having enough. Government is having enough to share now, and a rational leader, a rational president, sit down and fold his arm and be looking and be watching without doing anything. Something drastic to arrange the situation. It cannot. Even if you sit down, if something happens, what would the people be saying? Just tell me. What would the people be saying? And president should have taken action. If he's a dollar president, is this, is that, is that. So the situation he finds himself, that is why I say, easy lies, yes, that we are crowned. He did the best thing to my mind. To me, as a matter of principle, he did the best thing in declaring state of emergency, right? If after 6 months, these people, they didn't come together, two of them, the two sides of the device, they didn't come together, and he should write to the Congress again that they should extend it by 6 months. It will serve as a deterrent. I know your fear is that the president, somebody else, like any president after this can be declaring state of emergency. Then they will challenge it in the court of law. That is better. It's better like that, just to make the situation subside. Even if he had not declared state of emergency, they will have removed Fubara. Fubara will have given the order to blast the pipeline.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Shupo, there has been a lot of violence in the Southeast where IPOB are killing people on the street. People can't go to work on Mondays. They literally took over, and there are loads of soldiers there trying to maintain the peace. There was no state of emergency declared. In the Northeast, the Boko Haram, they took over the place. They were doing whatever they liked. In fact, there is a lot of camps, for displaced people. There was no state of emergency. There was a time nobody could travel from Abuja to Kaduna. That road is a no-go area. There was no state of emergency. Why is it? Because, one pipe is blown off, just one pipe somewhere in the middle of a bush, and then suddenly there's a state of emergency.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think there are several realities that we need to understand about states in Nigeria. I think first and foremost, all states are not created equal. As much as everybody believes in their state, I think that is just the reality. The Rivers State cannot be compared to some of these other states that you have mentioned for the sole reason because a great part of the revenue we earn as a country comes from the resources in that region and the infrastructure that potentially could be interrupted as a result of this unfortunate imbroglio between the governor and his godfather will directly impact national revenue. Now, this is very trying times generally for a lot of countries. There are trade wars here and there. There's a lot going on. This is a problem that is self-inflicted that we don't actually need to have. And what this actually calls for is leadership on all fronts. So to answer your question, first and foremost, I believe that the explosion that was deemed to be an explosion that potentially could impact our ability to produce or maintain our current crude oil production will be devastating to the Nigerian economy. I think that's the first thing. So in that scenario, it makes sense for some intervention, to be done. Now, the question is, what level of intervention would be deemed appropriate? I think if we look at the Section 305 of the Constitution, I now, with all the activities that has happened in both legislature today, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, I believe, followed the Constitution in proclaiming the state of emergency and sending, the official gazette to the House of Representatives, where there was a 2/3, I believe, was counted this morning, as well as the Senate, which, gives him the legislative approval to declare the state of emergency. Now, the question is, constitutionally, that may be appropriate, but politically, is that the right way? To me, I think what the president should have done, actually, would be to have actually gone down to Rivers State, have a closed-door meeting with all the legislators, with the governor, and, with community leaders, and use the last straw of declaring the state of emergency to get all warring parties together to make peace and to do what is in the best interest of their state. That is real leadership. That was lacking from community leaders in Rivers. And, up until the point where it's, the security situation and tempers fled to the point that, there was a threat, to national infrastructure. And in addition to that, if I were the president, what I would do, apart from going down to Rivers State and talking to people, I will also offer, federal assistance in protecting, some of these important infrastructure.
Okay.
Now, if after that, the parties are still squabbling and, there's still, a big, explosion or, some kind of a security threat to infrastructure, I don't think at that point in time, anybody will say that the president has not done enough,
Okay.
and at that time, he would not be seen as taking the law into his own hands.
Okay. Sure. Thank you. Lighton, a state of emergency allows the president to take extraordinary measure to resolve a crisis. Now, I will have thought that if some people are blowing up the pipelines in Rivers State, the president could have supported the governor by sending troops to go and protect Nigeria's assets. It's not removing the governor. Now, the president, you have removed the governor, you have removed the deputy governor, who has no fault, has not done anything wrong now. You have removed the House of Assembly, who have been elected by their constituents. You've removed them. You've truncated democracy. So we have now lost, a way of deepening that democracy, because Nigerian democracy will have learned something from what is going on. But now that democracy has been truncated. So now we remember that when Abacha truncated a civilian government, what's it called? The FIDIHE? What's the one? What they call it? What's the FIDIHE?
The interim government.
The interim government. People are clapping. You understand? And this is the way. And then it's going to get what? Are we laying down a precedent where a president can think I don't think I'm going to win this state in 2027. I don't think I'm going to win this region in 2031. So let me take over this state. Are we going to have a situation where we're not going to have a president where a situation where a president can find a backdoor to truncate democracy and then hold a region so for the purpose of it? Because this is all about 2027. Is that what we are witnessing now?
It's unfortunate that we find ourselves in this situation. But for a desperate situation, we need this desperate hands to curtail it. The section of the constitution I'm trying to look at it here is 2000, 2005. I couldn't see, but it gives the power in case of during the emergency, during the maybe anything, it can declare emergency. There is all there's this law. The president can declare state of emergency. But what we are saying in essence is, it is unfortunate, like I earlier said, that the democratically elected people, they were sent out, they were sent packing by the government, by the president. But given that situation, River State is the economy now, South is the economy nerve center of our country. So there is nothing he could do that if he doesn't do that at that material time. Yesterday, sending the proclamation to the National Assembly, right? We would have messed up ourselves. So the only thing he could do at that material time is what he did. So in case of president, what we have the fear about the president, I think if something is happening like this and we don't curtail it, and we are romancing, we are branding as if it is okay, it's not the best, right? People, once they know that, okay, this president is not nonsense man, we will take drastic action. Everybody will sit tight.
Okay.
You cannot be sitting there and be fomenting problem. We will lose. Fubara will do. The team from Fubara, two of them will lose. They will be at the decision end. So two of them. So let them sit down. If after 6 weeks, after 6 months, if they don't come to the round table and set their differences, then they should extend it.
Thank you, Lighton. I just want to take your attention to something. All this matter started, when the Supreme Court delivered their judgment, in which there was a scathing rebuke for the governor. Okay. Now, we seem to be getting points of law in our Supreme Court, but we are not getting justice. Everybody knows that this is a fight between Wike and Fubara. The people in the House of in the House of Assembly, it's just a proxy war. It's a proxy war. Wike is behind the whole situation, pressing the buttons. And the people, the judges in the Supreme Court, they knew what was going on. But now they've delivered a justice, they delivered a judgment according to law, but there's no justice. Fubara has not got justice here. Because if Fubara, when he took over government, has been allowed to run his government without anybody trying to interfere and say, no, you can't do this, you have to choose this as a commissioner, there will have no problem. So why do we have a Supreme Court that is delivering judgments according to law, but we are not getting justice?
Yeah, thank you very much. Now, I agree with you that there is a man behind this whole scenario, and that man is the Minister for the Federal Capital Territory, in Nyesom Wike. Wike's name is not mentioned in any of the affidavits that were submitted to the courts. So the courts cannot actually rule on what is going on. I kind of agree with the courts that the courts can only deal with issues that are brought before it. And I'm not aware, that Fubara has brought before the courts that there is a man called Wike who is making all demands on me that I cannot meet. I mean, those types of things will not get to the courts. But I think one thing that is important, that I think politicians and elected officials in Nigeria should learn, is that before you take a step, it is important that you determine what is the right thing to do by the law. What we have seen happen is Fubara also, making decisions and taking steps that are probably emotional, and that may eventually some of those actions landed in hot water. So, for example, how can you have 27 members of the House of Assembly that are not sitting, and you are making decisions about appropriation and those type of things in a state? I mean, you can disagree with those people, but they are elected representatives that are supposed to represent.
They decamped. They went to another party. They lost their
okay.
seat.
Yeah, so I agree with that, but it is not the governor to make that ruling. What the governor should have done is the governor should have gone to the courts and asked the courts to determine by the law whether the decampment of those legislators voided their seats. If the court comes back and says yes, now it is not him, the governor, that is making that decision. He is also following the law. So, these are things that people, elected officials need to ensure that they themselves must act. It is not it is not the governor to interpret the law and say, this is what I'm going to do. No, in that sort of scenario, you actually get that court opinion. You go to the court and you determine, okay, we are constituting the House of Assembly. We have 27 members that have defected another party. Do they still have their seats? Let the court make that decision. And if the court says no, they voted their seats, then those 27 members can now face it with the court, and they can take it to the Federal Court of Appeals and up to the Supreme Court. In that case, it is no longer Fubara saying that they can't have their seats. It is the courts saying that their action has resulted in. And if the court comes back to say they have their seats, work with them. So, politicians also need to mature in how they approach governance, because when these things happens, it is never only one side that is completely out of the blues.
Okay.
So I think that is my take.
Because of our time, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me just pause you. Lighter.
Yep.
I will have advised the president to fire Wike instead of firing Fubara. Fubara is elected. Wike is an appointee. So, because if you remove Wike from that equation, there will be peace. But now you've removed Fubara. When Fubara comes back in 6 months' time, there will still not be peace, because the man who is steering the problem is still there. The man who's the cause of the problem is still there, dining in Nassau Rock. So what I would have suggested for the president is to call Wike to order. Say, listen, we can't continue like this. Rivers State is a very, very important state for Nigeria. That's why the president acted the way he acted, because we can't afford, the oil installations there. The president has just been able to drive it up from 900,000 barrels a day to about 1.5 million barrels a day. And now they are trying to blow it up. So the president, panicked and said, no, this is not going to happen under my watch. So do you think the president should continue to harbor Wike without constraining him, without telling him to tone down his rhetoric and allow peace to reign? Because as long as Wike continues to think that he can bully the governor to submission and control the state, and you have a governor on the other hand who say, no, I'm elected. Do you think this is going to go down in peace, amicably?
Uh, the problem is multifaceted, right? Initially, it was a patch up between Wike and Fubara. With the avalanche of corruption allegation against Wike, if Fubara has exposed him, we will not be here. We will not be where we are now. But come to your question, the way I think Tinubu is harboring Wike is not the best, to say the least. It is high time he told Wike to back out from all these. It's not. I mean, I can't. He cannot hold everybody, the whole state, to ransom because of his ambition to impose everybody. That is not that the godfathers, they don't fight. Tinubu, Fashola, this guy from Ekwe, they fought, but they know how to resolve their issues. It's a give and take. You take, you give, and then you take. Right? You lose some and you win some. It is high time we knew that, okay, I have to back that. You cannot take everything. It's wrong.
Thank
We
you.
Should president should call him to order.
Thank
He
you.
should find, like Shuko said earlier on, president should go there like a leader.
Yeah.
As a leader, he should go to the state, find possible way of ameliorating the whole situation. We need a synergy among all these people. If you want to win, you cannot win a divided state now. I know River State is important to you, but you can't. Some people will support. There's no way. There's no how. Some people will support Fubara. Some people will support Wike. Yeah. Well, the state is divided already. So you need a block vote from that axis.
Thank you.
So he needs to go there
so very quickly, if I can respond to that question, I actually think the opposite. I think if the president fires Wike, what you will end up doing is releasing Wike to actually now go back fully to Rivers State and continue to stoke, the flames and fan the flames of that division. I think he's partly busy in Abuja. He's probably not busy enough. Maybe keep him, a lot busier. But if you suddenly fire him, he will have nothing more to do now than to go back to Rivers State, and things will get worse because even his presence in the state, will rock a lot more feathers. Well, I think.
You know why I don't agree with you, Shupo?
Yeah.
The reason why I don't agree with you is because Wike is only using the federal might, to bully the governor of Rivers State. Remove all this federal, apparatus, remove all the soldiers, remove all the security, remove all the fanfare. Let him go and walk in the street of Port Harcourt. Let him go and walk there. Huh?
Yeah, I disagree. Wike has 27 legislators on his side. How many does Fubara have?
But how many of them can walk on the street of Port Harcourt? How many of them? Why are they holding up in a little place?
But the 27 legislators have been able to successfully truncate Fubara's agenda for Rivers. So when you now release Wike, he will now go back to Rivers State. He will now have all the time to now continue to even recruit, more people to further his own agenda. So this is my take. I don't think that this problem is there because he has federal might. I think the problem is there because he has more loyalists in Rivers State than Fubara.
I don't think so. I don't think so. If you look at the response in Rivers State by everybody, from the top elder statesmen to the people on the street, go and hear what they are saying. They are not on the side of Wike. Wike is using this federal might to oppress those people. And if the president doesn't take care, if he's not careful, they will not vote for him in 2027.
So, I agree with what you're saying. I think the people on the streets may not agree with Wike. The officials they elected to do their work and to represent them at the House of Representatives are in support of Wike. So, this is, and what matters. People can say whatever they want on the street. It is the people who are in the House of Representatives who will vote on issues. They are the ones whose vote at the end of the day will
Yeah,
count.
I
So,
think because they were rigged in during Wike's time doesn't make them legitimate. I think if there were to be election tomorrow, I don't think most of them will come back. If you have an election
well,
tomorrow, most of them will
yeah.
not come back. So
Well, you have a point in that perspective, and I agree with you actually that if you take a survey within River States now, I think Wike is going to have a body blow. It comes back to his ability to marshal the loyalists that he has, to be able to further his own agenda. I do agree with that. But all I'm saying is that firing him and letting him go back to River States is actually going to aggravate the situation a lot more because you're not going to have somebody who is disliked by majority of people in the state who is now actually physically there. There's the likelihood of more violence. There's likelihood that there will be more damage to more
Yes,
infrastructure, and this
no
whole
doubt.
thing could escalate very quickly.
okay, Shuka, we are out of time. Lighter, do you want
Yes.
anything? You guys just in 1 minute so that we can go.
What?
Have you got anything to say in just 1 minute?
Oh, in 1 minute, what I will say is Wike should be thinking about posterity. How is it going to be judged? It might be later on, it
For
might
this,
be
for
10
destroying
years.
its own state.
Yeah, destroying his own state.
Mm.
Right? How is it going to be judged? Later on, it might even have passed on. They will be saying that the grandson, the granddaughter of, they'll be
Mm.
telling the grandchildren that your father truncated the democracy in
Mm.
River State. Right. So likewise, Fubara, anything that it cannot complete, you should not start it.
Mm.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So we come to the end of today's deliberation. I want to say thank you, Mr. Olalawa, all the way from Canada. Thank you so much for coming to today's meeting.
Thank you for having me.
Mr. Olatunde Digba, thank you so much for your wonderful contribution.
Thank you. Thank you.
And finally, I want to tell you all our viewers, if you have not yet subscribed, please hit that subscription button. It is free of charge. It means anytime we do a new video, you're one of the first people to know about it. We'll see you again on Sunday. God bless you. Thank you. Goodbye.